What's up, Panthers Nation? We're here with another video today, and we want to talk about candidates for the replacement of Ron Rivera. So, the rumor has already started. Josh McDaniels, we're already interested in him. Mark McCarthy's name is surfaced, and so has Harbaugh. There's a few other names out there, but I won't really get into them because those three are the ones that matter. I've suggested them before, and I'm suggesting them yet again. Uh, the reason why I think Josh McDaniels should be the offensive coordinator, not the head coach, is because the New England Patriots method with Belichick only works with Belichick beyond the helm. But if McDaniels is the offensive coordinator and he's only focusing on the offensive side of the ball, I think that could really, really work with Mark McCarthy's coaching style and what he brings to the table. Just let Josh do his thing, let Mike do his thing, and that should take care of business right there. Here's my thing with Harbaugh is he's had trouble with owners before in the past, particularly the one in San Francisco, and that's what led to him getting fired. But you've seen the results of what he's done. This 44 and I think 14 or something like that record-wise, and in one tie with the Niners. I don't have his records for his time in Michigan, but he's a hard but fair coach, and I think he would be a good fit as a head coach or a defensive coordinator. With all three of them working in tandem, we could have a really, really successful staff here, with Marty leading the charge. And I agree with Tepper, everything he said in his interview. I'm fully 100% on board. Let's go start the choo-choo train towards long-term success. I am fully on board, and I could not be happier or more excited right now. This is a very exciting time to start the rebuilding process, and this is the right way to do it. I agree with Norv being the assistant head coach right now. I think that's the smart move. He brings a lot to the table, knowledge-wise, even if he's not touching the offense. I don't want him touching the offense. I agree with his son touching the offense right now as the offensive coordinator. I agree that was the right move. And Tepper also brought in a assistant for the GM job for Marty. And I agree with that as well for analytics reasons. I think that was a very smart move on all fronts by Tepper. I agree with his reasoning. I agree with everything he's doing. And you got my full support, Tepper, for the train ride ahead. This is exactly where we want to be, starting out this rebuilding process. It starts right now, folks. Get excited because this train is getting ready to roll onto the tracks and start doing some damage here soon. Especially in the sense that, long-term success is exactly what Tepper said. Rome was not built in a day. Well said, Mr. Tepper, because that is exactly what I've been saying from the very beginning. And, we're both on the same page here, and I love it. I love it. This is how we start. This is how we prepare ourselves to become a long-term successful team. And it starts from the line. It starts right from the very beginning of that line. Way to go, Tepper. Way to go, man. So, I want to quickly address one other thing in this video, and that is Eric Washington. And I'm glad somebody brought him up in one of the comments on the official Facebook page, because Eric Washington has pretty much become a ghost name ever since Ron took over the defense. And now people are questioning, what should we do about him? I've seen about 3 or 4 comments about that, and that was it so far. And I kind of stopped reading, and I just said, okay, well, we need to address this issue. So, my suggestion is, look, he's not the source of the blame. He was just playing what he had out there. He didn't exactly do a great job out there with the players that he had. Plus injuries got in the way. So I say, let's give him a second chance. Let's give him 2 games. 2 games this year. Maybe the rest of the season. And let's just see how he does. Let's see what he's learned. If he's learned anything. We already know Ron Rivera didn't learn anything. We know Norv didn't learn anything. That's why Norv got demoted and Ron's gone. So let's see what our man right here, Eric Washington, has learned. Let's give him a shot as DC. Let's see what he learned. I have zero problem doing with that suggestion. I have zero problem with Tepper deciding to do that. Or our new interim head coach, Perry Fuel. I have zero problem with that. I think, I agree with Tepper on this. You got to experiment and see what you have going into 2020, and then make your decisions in the offseason. Completely agree. And I think that's one of the many experiments we need to try. I think we need to try out Will Greer. Let's see how he does. I think we need to experiment with the line a little bit. Let's see what our depth players can do on the line. And I think, let's just experiment. Now is the time to experiment. The season's over. We're going to get losses. We're going to tank out. We're going to get a draft pick. Probably top 10. Maybe top fit within the range of top 10 to top 15. So let's experiment. I see nothing wrong with that. And, my trade suggestion is still up in the air. For anyone interested in promoting that, you're more than welcome to. If you think that that's the right course of action to go. Also, if you find better players, suggest them in the comments section. I'm more than open to looking into them and learning more about them and watching some tapes. I'm cool with it. I'll watch them. I'll watch anybody you guys suggest. List them down below. I'm serious. Open suggestions. We're looking for the best players that could possibly help us in the future. We're looking for specifically quarterback, running back, wide receiver, defensive lineman, offensive lineman, defensive tackle, defensive end, corner, linebacker, if I have not already said that. And let's see what we come up with. I think the rest of the positions are okay for now. Don't get me wrong, these players are great. They're great people that we have on this roster right now, but as players on the field, we can do better. We can do better than the roster we have right now. Guarantee it. Every roster has holes to fill, but ours looks like Swiss cheese. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us, and it starts with that trade idea. I know it sounds nutty. I know it sounds crazy. But I'm telling you, give it a shot. Let's see what happens. I've already explained in a previous video why Cam cannot hurt us in that trade. I've already explained what we're going for and why. I may be reaching on the value of Taylor Moton and Darrell Williams together as a draft pick in that trade. So I say, let's take whatever pick we get out of that value for this year's draft. I'm still holding true to that. And I think let's move forward in the sense of either going full on 3-4 defense or full on 4-3 defense. And I think let's adjust the corners to fit both. That's what I would like to see. If we can adjust the corners and find corners that can do either one, I think that would change things up quite a bit. And that's not fully committing to a 3-4. That's not fully committing to a 4-3 either. It's a bit of both. And in a way, you are fully committing. So I think if we could find corners that are like that, suggest some that are college players, go ahead and throw those in the comments below. I will definitely look up those players and I will check them out. But that's the type I would like to see on this team because of the lack of success at stopping the run and, a couple of other things. But that's a good start, I believe, at moving forward. So the first order of business is to look into better players. And I think Marty's already on that. He's already on the ball. He left us with a bunch of cap room, which is a good thing. So we're going to see what players we decide to sign and which ones not. And I'll make some suggestions in a future video on what players I think should be re-signed and which ones shouldn't. As soon as I see the list of what players and what their contracts have looked like before and what they could look like in the future, I'd like to see that. And I'd like to see how much cap room we actually have. So if anybody's got the number on that, please post that number below. I'd really, really appreciate that. Letting me know what possibilities there are. We want to look at full picture. We want to see what could happen, what different scenarios could happen, and why those scenarios could happen. But we're on the fast track to starting the rebuilding process, and I'm very, very happy with that. It starts with firing Ron Rivera. It starts with moving people around in the management. Let's see what happens. That's step one. Step one of many. But you got to think long-term success builds franchises. It absolutely does. I believe in that fully, and I will believe that in that fully till the day I stop watching football or till the day I die. I know for a fact that is what it takes to win. You look at the Steelers, you look at the Panthers back in 13, 14, 15. You look at Green Bay over a number of years. You look at a number of teams actually had that kind of success for a long time. The 49ers right now have a bunch of depth. They have a lot of depth. And they're a lot better than I thought they were starting out. So, I didn't realize how much depth they had on their 53-man roster until I started really digging and seeing some of the numbers. So there you go. Depth helps you win divisions. Depth helps you win conference championships. And depth will take us to the Super Bowl at some point in the future if we do it correctly. So with that in mind, upbeat attitude, we're starting to track to success. Let's keep pounding, baby.